is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, July 23rd. It is late evening. Sun is setting over here, and it is corn harvest day. We're going to head down to the garden here in just a little bit and start harvesting some of our sweet corn, our peaches and cream sweet corn. But before we do that, give you a little bit of an update on where things have been here lately. We went 29 days and only got 3/10 of an inch of rain during that 29-day window. I was really concerned that it was going to really stunt the corn, or the ears weren't going to fill out or anything. Well, thankfully here about 4 days ago now, we started getting a little bit of rain. We had a little bit of rain every day. The corn has responded incredibly well. The ears have filled out. So looking forward to going down here, getting this harvest in, and we will meet you down at the garden. Before we get down to the garden, I want to go over a little bit about how we got to where we're at right now. On May 10th, the day before Mother's Day, we began to till and work up the garden, and we direct seeded our peaches and cream corn. Over the next 4 weeks, we got roughly 10 inches of rain, which kept the garden nice and wet, but it also meant the weeds began to flourish. It created quite the work that had to be done to get these weeds under control. Thankfully, through the effort of the entire family, we were able to get down there. We were able to get the weeds under control, get the rows all hoed out and taken care of. Then, around the first week of July, the honeybees found the corn and they began to start pollinating it. Unfortunately, at that point, we were in the middle of a 29-day drought where we only got 3/10 of an inch of rain during that 29-day window. So I had to stretch some soaker hoses just to keep the corn on life support in hopes that we would get full ears and we would have a harvest this year. All right, everybody, we are down here at the garden now. You can see back here behind me, you see the weeds and everything. I had this all mowed down a week ago, and so we hadn't had all that rain. There wasn't a whole lot of weed growth. We get that rain, and the first thing that responds always seems to be the weeds. So we're going to have to wade through these weeds and things, get over here and get picking, but have no idea how much of this corn is going to be ready. I know the couple of ears that I pulled yesterday were looking really good, but we're just going to have to go through and kind of feel each one of them, take a look at them, see how full they seem to be, and then try to harvest the most ripe, the most mature ones, and then we can always come back in 3 or 4 days and do it all over again, so we can try to maximize the productivity and the actual fullness of the ears of corn. So we're going to get to walking through here and see what we can find. Alright, everybody, so we've picked the first round of corn here. It was kind of hit or miss in there. Just had to go through feeling each one of the ears to try to figure out which ones were worth harvesting today. Looking in the back of the truck, I mean, we may have gotten 5 or 6 dozen in there right now. There's a lot more corn out here, but it looks like the crows have found it on the far other side over there. There's 3 or 4 stalks that are laid down on the ground, and the ears have been stripped. So unfortunately, crows can come in here, raccoons, they can almost lay this whole corn stand down in a night, or in the crow's case in a day, but raccoons can lay it all down overnight. So I'm gonna have to come back out maybe tomorrow and then just have to check it every day to see what we got, because if I let it go for 3 or 4 or 5 days, we may come back and there'll be no corn left. I mean, we barely scraped the surface of what corn is in here to be harvested, but you know, we could only take what was ready. You know, another rain would help. Unfortunately, they're not calling for rain for several more days, and they're saying we're going to be in the 90s for the next few days. So I really don't think the corn's going to mature much more. This may be the best we're going to get this year, because I've also got to weigh the risk of raccoons and crows getting to it. All right, we're going to get the basket. We're going to get over here. We've got some tomatoes to pick as well. And then we're going to get to the house and get cleaned up because it is filthy nasty out here right now. All right, we're up at our house now. So as you saw, it was really hot out there. And this corn, I had to get in here, and I've got it in front of a fan here in the garage. It's going to be a little bit before we can get to it. It'll be tomorrow morning. But I wanted to get it out here, get it unloaded, get this fan blowing on it to get it cooled down. And otherwise, you run the risk if it's really humid and if it's wet and you put it in like this and you leave it setting around, it can actually sour and go bad on you really quickly. So this is what I do to try to get it to cool down in a hurry and give us a little bit more time to get it worked up. All right, it is the next morning now. The corn is still down there. But now we're going to get over here, we're going to show you how we prefer to work this corn up to put in the freezer. So we're also going to pressure can some, but today what we're going to do is we're going to work this corn and get it ready for the freezer the way that works the best for us. We've tried it several different ways, and this is our favorite way to do it. It actually makes it easier to cook whenever you get it out and thaw it out, and it actually makes, in our opinion, it tastes better doing it this way. So we're going to get stuff together, and we'll show you here in just a minute. All right, so we're going to just show you what this looks like, the tips of it here first of all. So look at that. That corn is perfect. We never sprayed it with anything. This corn has not been treated with any kind of insecticide, pesticide, herbicide, fungicide, anything, and it's perfect. All right, so Amy, you want to show them how we prepare this? So actually, we don't shuck it. She just did that so you can see that it's good, clean corn. She cuts the top off like that, and then she goes back and she cuts the base off like that. And then we just plop it in these gallon freezer bags. You can use a vacuum bag if you want. It may be a little too long. You can peel some of those longer, thicker husks off, but then you're just going to fill it up. Once we get it full, we'll show you how we prep the bag for the freezer. All right, so we've got 7 ears in this bag, and we got to prep this for the freezer. So you can either use a vacuum packer if you want, but what we do is I'll actually start to close the bag. Then I'll take a straw and I'll pop it down in the corner, and I will suck all the air out and then close it up at the same time. So doing it this way takes as much air out of the bag as we can get before we stick it in the freezer. This minimizes the risk of freezer burn, and by doing it, you're sucking the air and any of the moisture in the air out. And it's very humid here in East Tennessee this time of year, so you get any air in there and it's going to have a lot of moisture content. So sucking that out as much as you can is going to reduce the amount of moisture overall that's in the bag as well. So we're going to go through. We've got 7 dozen ear of corn that we picked last night. We're going to work through. Like I said, this first batch we're going to do like this for the freezer. And then the next harvest that we have, she is actually going to pressure can that, and we can show you how we do that in probably the next video when we actually do that second harvest. So we ended up saving a half a dozen ears to take to my parents, and a half a dozen we kept out to cook for dinner tonight as well. But this is all going to get taken down and put in the deep freezer. Well, thank you all for coming along and seeing this. I know we didn't get a whole lot of content down where we were picking because, I mean, it was just so hot. We were running out of daylight. It was dark by the time we finished picking the corn, so we didn't really have time to get a lot of video footage. My son was struggling to get the lighting correct because it was so dark and everything was, getting so late in the day. It was hard to get really good video footage. But anyway, that's it for this. We're going to go check again here probably in the next 2 days, see if we can pick some more. Hopefully the raccoons and crows haven't really gotten into it by then. But then when we get that next batch picked, we're going to pressure can that because we can't really just keep stacking all this in the deep freezer. Plus, pressure can corn, it's easier to prepare. You just take it off and you throw it in your pot and warm it up and eat it. I mean, you can prepare it in different ways you want to, but so we're going to do that the next time. But thank y'all so much for coming along. Hope you learned something. If you've never tried doing your corn this way, freezing it this way, I highly recommend it. I may even try to show a clip or two of what it looks like when you grill it like this, or you can, some people boil it this way, some people microwave it this way, but we prefer to grill it whenever we fix it like this. So thank you so much. If you haven't yet, I'd appreciate if you go in and you hit the like and subscribe button and drop a comment below. Let me know if this is how you do it or if you do it differently. So thanks so much. Have a blessed day.